If you find yourself overthinking about how to do everything the right way and you're tired of delaying tasks or taking action because it all just feels too overwhelming, then you are in the right place. Perfecting Imperfectionism invites you to move past overthinking and self-doubt, declutter your mind, and create a life that reflects who you really are. I'm Laura Meredith, and I'm a certified professional coach and ambitious professional. My mission is to show you the power of embracing imperfectionism so you too can create a career and life you love. Let's start perfecting imperfectionism. Hello and welcome back to Perfecting Imperfectionism. I am your host, Laura Meredith. I'm a certified professional coach, and I am so glad you are here with me today. Last week in my 5th episode, we talked about procrastination and how perfectionism actually fuels it, why it's not laziness, and how you can start moving through it instead of being paralyzed by it. This week, we are going to take that conversation one step further, and I was actually inspired to do this episode based on a suggestion from my husband, Ray. So shout out, Ray. Thank you so much for this idea, because he shared that this last episode where I talked about procrastination and perfectionism, he's a fellow perfectionist, a fellow procrastinator when things start to feel overwhelming. And he loved the section of the podcast where I started to talk about ideas and ways to just get yourself moving just a little bit with that compassion. And I thought this was a great thing to expand on further, because once you realize that you are not actually lazy when you procrastinate, then you have this question that just kind of like pops up out of the stratosphere, and it becomes, what do I do instead? If I'm not lazy and I'm just kind of spiraling here, what do I do? And the truth is, something is always better than nothing. And even 5 minutes, even 1 minute of action is better than waiting for the perfect plan, just the right mood, or the exact amount of time that you want, or the right moment. So today we are going to talk about why small steps can create massive transformation, tons of ways you can take something actions in different areas of your life and work. So you are going to get ideas up the wazoo today. We are going to talk through again and in a little bit more detail how to move forward with compassion instead of judgment, how to actually celebrate your progress, and how to balance action with wellness so that you don't burn yourself out along the way. So this is a very juicy episode today. So excited to get into this with you. So let's start with a quick overview. And this is a little bit of a review from last week's episode. And this is why perfectionists get stuck in inaction and in this procrastination cycle. So there's a few main reasons that this happens. And if you're looking for more of an explanation of these, go back to the 5th episode. And I go into a lot of detail about each of these, but for the purposes of this episode, I'm just going to do a little quick overview. So the first thing is that we fear failure. So we avoid starting, because if we don't start, we can't fail. The next is that we can sometimes live in all or nothing thinking. So thinking, if I can't do it fully, or if I can't do it the right way or without error, then I just won't do it at all. Why bother? Another thing that happens is that we experience overwhelm, and sometimes we just don't even know where to get started. So we have that blank page syndrome. Blank page syndrome. I want to make sure I say that clearly, because that's one of my favorite things to talk about. We also believe in the readiness myth, which is that if you wait until just the right time, you'll finally feel ready, or the stars will align, or things will just feel perfect. So just waiting until the right time happens. And then the last thing that happens is that we judgment stack. And so that means that we stack judgment on top of the judgment that we're already having of ourselves. And we're just continuing to judge ourselves and basically ridicule and criticize what we're doing, what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we believe, and how we're processing all of that. And that ends up paralyzing us and getting us into a little bit of a spiral of judgment there. And all of those things are why we end up doing nothing. And then nothing feels safe, but it keeps us stuck. So when we do nothing, while it does feel safe, we're letting life happen to us and we're not taking agency over our lives. We are relinquishing our control, and inaction is a decision in and of itself. So whatever you're not deciding to do, you're deciding to do the nothing side of things, and that keeps us stuck. And as perfectionists, when you hear all of this, I know it can feel like the odds are entirely against you, but I promise you they are not. Because even before you break down your limiting beliefs and you challenge them, even if you don't completely believe the reframes that I continuously share with you, that I shared in the episode last week around this specifically, you can still take action. In coaching, we refer to this as action before feelings. So this is taking action aligned to your commitments, regardless of your feelings. And as a result, we may end up shifting our emotions and beliefs anyway, because we're building evidence that we can be successful and that we can change our outcomes. And I am going to give you some really powerful actions that you can take right now. And these are rooted in the idea that something is greater and better than nothing. And there is power in small actions. Before I get too much further into this, you know I love my disclaimers. And I just want to call out that these actions or this approach is not meant to criticize or diss other methods of habit building or making progress. So for those of you who can go all out and do exactly what you set out to achieve as soon as you decide, as soon as there's a plan in front of you, as soon as you have whatever accountability you need, I truly applaud you, and I aspire to do more of that, and I admire you. So this is not for you, though. You can listen, and this can help you have a greater understanding of others who maybe don't build habits as great or as easily as you do, or who struggle with doing things. And you can even adopt some of these if there are areas of your life that you do feel like you need some of these tips. But for those of you, if you feel stuck in this all or nothing thinking, or if you feel overwhelmed, you have a fear of failure, you believe the readiness myth, if you judgment stack yourself, if you're a perfectionist, this is for you. And I want you to get started and to have some really tangible, small ways that you can get started. So to move the needle 1 degree, turn the volume knob up just a smidge, practice taking and celebrating small actions. So everyone has something to learn from this episode, whether it's tips for you or tips for you to understand or empathize with others who experience this. But just know, go back to the disclaimer. So here we go. The shift of something being greater than nothing, so a small something being greater than nothing, is going to be rooted in this general idea that I want to introduce to you, that a small measure of something is going to be infinitely more powerful than a no measure of nothing of that same thing for many days or instances in a row. So the transformation happens not in perfection, but in repetition. And it also happens by taking small actions of any kind, even if they're different actions every single day or many times throughout the day. It shows your brain that you can do this, and it allows yourself to be a little bit creative with how you approach completing your goals or completing a task or building a habit or working on something that's making you nervous or studying for an exam or creating a presentation or sending an email. Instead of telling yourself, like, I am just going to write this email when I feel ready to write the whole email, you can write it 1 sentence at a time in between meetings. And then by the end of the day, the email is probably almost ready to go. And then you can just hit send after reviewing it one time, rather than waiting until the end of the day and saying, oh, I don't have time in between meetings. I'll just write at the end of the day. I'll write at the end of the day, end of the day. End of the day comes, you're exhausted. Your brain isn't functioning that well. And then it's 5 o'clock and you're like, okay, you got to write this email. And all these other things were happening to you throughout the day. So you have to like go back and look at some other things. You have to go look at your notes. You have to like center yourself, get in a headspace, and then you type up the email. You might have to reread it a couple times because you're not sure about what you wrote and you want to make sure you got it right or whatever. And then lo and behold, you might spend an hour or maybe even 2 hours writing and sending an email that maybe you could have written in small short bursts throughout the day. Or maybe if you had done a couple of sentences throughout the day, you might have seen some ideas on the page and been like, oh yeah, I can pick that up now because I wrote that sentence. And that was the one sentence that I thought was like a good one to get in there. And I can just build off of that. So these are all these suggestions that I'm about to share with you. Some are based in repetition and some are based on just like small chunks, trying something small, building a habit, generally trying new things, practicing things that you maybe haven't done before. And these are all micro steps. And make sure that you challenge yourself to figure out which of these resonate with you, for one, which are some that you want to try. And which of these resonate with you, and which of these will challenge you a little bit, get you a little bit further than where you are right now, because that's what we want. We do want some movement, but that aren't going to stretch you too far that you end up feeling overwhelmed. This is meant to stretch you a little bit, keep you in a little bit of discomfort, but still make it an area where you can learn and where you can build that habit and where you can build that evidence that you can do things differently and that you do have the ability to get out of the procrastination rut and to show yourself that your procrastination and your inability to your feeling of being unable to take action and the feeling that you have of feeling unable to take action is not actually true. You're not lazy. There's something you can do to combat this. You can just try these small things to break you out of that headspace. These tiny changes really do add up to massive change. I'm going to share many small actions you can take, many ways you can practice taking small actions. And this is going to be a little bit list dense. And just bear with me because the purpose of this episode is to give you ideas and to inspire you. And these don't have to be exactly what you do. You can take inspiration from them. If 5 minutes is too much, do a minute. Heck, do 30 seconds. If you want to stretch it a little further and 5 minutes is a breeze for you and you want to take it up to 10 or 15, go for it. I am so excited for you to take this concept of imperfect, small, incremental action and repetition and habit building in whatever way resonates with you. Okay, so let's talk about the types of small actions you can take. And I'm going to give you a bunch of ideas grouped by different areas of your life. Okay, so I'm going to start with self-improvement. So this could look like reading 2 pages of a book, journaling 1 sentence, encouraging yourself to learn 1 new random fact every day. Listen to 5 minutes of a podcast or of an audiobook. Write down 1 thing you're grateful for. Ask yourself a question rooted in curiosity about how you're feeling or what happened to you that day, just once a day. And it doesn't have to be written or anything like that, just doing something a little bit more intentionally every day. For health and wellness, you can take a 5-minute walk. You can stand up and stretch your arms over your head. You can do like a hamstring or quad stretch, pull your foot up to your butt and stretch it out on either side real quick. Do that once a day, a couple times a day. You can put your arms on either side. Oh, my chiropractor taught me this one. It's really great for opening up the chest. You can put your arms on a door frame and like push your body forward and just feel a really good stretch in your front and in your back. And you can do that anytime before you're about to go to the bathroom or something like that. You can drink 1 extra glass of water. You can meditate for 1 minute, for 2 minutes, for 30 seconds. You can do 10 squats. You can stretch for 30 minutes. You can do a plank for 10 seconds. You can do 2 push-ups. You can eat 1 fruit. You can eat an extra bite of vegetables. You can get a smaller size coffee. There's so many things you can do in the health and wellness space. Okay, for building work relationships, you can send a quick thank you email. You can comment on a colleague's LinkedIn post. You can repost a colleague's LinkedIn post. You can go contribute to an article on LinkedIn with some thought leadership. Add a quick little comment there. You can schedule a 15-minute coffee chat. You can acknowledge a win from a teammate. You can share a win of your own with your team. And you can ask someone for their feedback on an email or an idea or something like that. So there's many ways you can focus on building work relationships. And for those, I might recommend doing 1 to 2 intentionally a week if it's new to you. And that can be the small habit that you build. So pick from a menu of options and think about the areas of which you want to improve your work relationships and what tasks align with doing that. If you want to support your habit building or get organized, you can lay out your workout clothes the night before. You can also lay out your work clothes the night before. You can prep your lunch or your breakfast or get your coffee pot ready the night before you go to bed and have that all ready to go for you in the morning. I used to love getting my backpack ready before I went to the office, like getting it ready the night before, putting it on the chair by my front door so it was ready to grab when I left and walked out the door. And I would take a bright orange sticky note and I wrote, "Grab your lunch." And I put that on top of my backpack so that I would see it every morning to make sure that I grabbed my lunch before I left for work. You can write out tomorrow's top 1 or 2 tasks you need to get done on a sticky note before you log off for the day. You can prep a snack for yourself in the morning that you can go and grab later in the day. So when you're building habits, what are some of the barriers that get in the way of you achieving those habits that exist? And how can you prepare a little bit in advance when you're less stressed or have less things on your mind or have a little bit more space to think through some of that? How can you take care of your future self with some of these habits that you maybe are building or have already built and just want to make them a little bit easier? So this is supporting your habits. So when it comes to getting a project done, you can write a messy outline instead of a polished draft. You can write a few sentences a day. You can take 5 minutes to brainstorm some ideas for a project. You can come up with 2 or 3 questions to ask yourself or to ask a stakeholder or questions you want answered. You can add a slide to your deck. You can clarify a couple bullets you already have on the deck. You can add 1, 2, or 3 bullet points to a deck, depending on how much you have to add or create. You can research 1 article or 1 resource or take 1 small learning class if you have online learning available to you. You can organize your notes for 5 minutes. You can look at your calendar and try to clean it up and reduce some meetings or schedule some meetings or move things around for 5 minutes. The last category I have is starting a daunting task. So you can open the document. That's a small step and a small win. You can write one idea or one thought, or even write the thing that you're stuck on in the document. If you're writing an email, you can write the subject line of an email. You can write the final sentence of the email. You can write the headline of the email first. Like, what is the thing that's going to help you get an idea ready to go for the email? Or what is the one thing you want people to take away from the email? And you can get that written first. You can ask AI to draft the email for you. I mentioned this in my last week's episode, I'm pretty sure, but you can ask AI to draft that email for you and react to it, completely deconstruct it. A lot of times when I see something to react to, it's so much easier for me to even start completely over than it would be without having something to visually react to. And the last thing that I will share with you that you can do for starting a daunting task is to break up a task into 3 pieces or just a few pieces, and then do just one. Just focus on one, the one that feels the most right to you, not even necessarily the most daunting one, just the one that you are either most excited for or feels like so easy, or if you do want to just get the daunting one over with, go for it. Like whatever works for you there. Break it down into a few pieces. And if you're really feeling like challenging yourself, after you break it down into those 3 pieces, see if you can break those pieces down a little bit and just mark off tiny little things. And so the point is, it's not whether what you do is enough or big enough or made enough progress. The point is that you're doing something and that you did do something. And when you add a bunch of somethings together, it compounds. While doing nothing, not just opening the document, not writing the subject line of the email, not reading 2 pages of a book, not drinking 1 extra glass of water, not commenting on a colleague's post, keeps you stuck. It keeps you in the same place. And you're likely still feeling dread, maybe your judgment stacking, and you don't have evidence of you doing anything. And this work and these small steps can show you that taking these small actions can help alleviate some of the pressure that you feel around them as well. And you might find a new favorite way of working. You might find that you prefer to get things done in really small chunks, or you might find that it inspires you to just sit down with whatever project you've been avoiding and crank it out in a day. And then you have it done early, and it's fantastic. I mean, who knows what could happen? Why not try? Why not try just a couple of these things and see what comes up for you? So any of these things can help you move forward. Just try something a little bit different than you did before. Be a little bit creative in your approach. Remind yourself that you are not lazy and that you can do something. And even if you want to write an email in between meetings and you're only able to get it in between your first 2 meetings of the day, and you write 1 or 2 sentences, then the end of the day comes and you still have to write that email, you did something more than you had before the beginning of the day. You have an idea on paper. You have an idea on paper. Maybe you have the subject line ready. Awesome. That centers you. That tells you where to go. Getting you a little bit further than you were before is going to help you not start from nothing. And it's going to remind you that there doesn't have to be this all or nothing thinking at the end of the day. That you did something to set yourself up for success. You were doing your best to take control of your future and to tell yourself, I got you. I got you. We are in this together. And that leads me to the part that a lot of perfectionists forget, and that's compassion. And I want to encourage you, regardless of what you achieve or what you try or what small steps you take, to continue to move forward with compassion. And I want you to think about what you would tell to different people in your life if they were experiencing these judgments that you are likely experiencing for yourself, or they were experiencing the procrastination. What would you tell a colleague that you respect? I might say, you don't have to have it all figured out yet. You just got to sign this. That's okay. What matters right now is that you're trying, you're thinking about it, you're approaching it with curiosity and strategy, and you care about it, and you're thinking through how to do this in a way that works for you and delivers what's asked of you. What would you tell a child, whether it's your own child or another child? You might say, I would say, I'm proud of you for starting. I'm proud of you for doing something you didn't ever do before. I hope you're proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself for trying something new, for starting. You don't need to be perfect. You're learning. You're learning. You're growing up, my guy. This is great. What would you tell a dear friend of yours? Whoa, that's so cool. You did something. That's really cool. And I want to celebrate you. That's worth celebrating. Cheers to that. What would you tell a parent? What would you tell your parent who was trying really hard to be there for you? Or do something for you, or for someone they love? You might say, you've done enough just by showing up. You are trying to do things differently. You're trying to break the mold of what you've done before. That's so cool. I'm so glad you're my parent. There's so many compassionate, kind things we would say to other people if we knew that they were struggling with procrastination rooted in perfectionism, if we knew they were trying to do something different, if we knew that they realized taking big action and trying to build huge habits all at once rather than taking it a little bit slow and building things incrementally at first, we would be so excited for them. We'd probably be curious. We would be impressed. We would be kind. We would be proud. We would respect them. We would encourage them. We would support them. So why don't we talk to ourselves this way? Why don't you talk to yourself this way? Why don't you say, it doesn't matter that you don't have it figured out. You just got to sign this. What matters is you're trying. You care about this. You're being strategic. You're being thoughtful. I'm proud of you for starting. I'm proud of you for learning something new, for trying something new. You're learning, my guy. Hey, self, you did something. That's worth celebrating. I'm so curious. I'm impressed. Wow, I never thought of it that way. You've already done enough just by showing up. As I say those things, even under this guise of saying it to myself, even though I just said it in the context of saying it to different people in my life, different archetypes, shifting that to saying those things to myself, I feel emotional in a good way. Just saying those things out loud changed something in my chemistry and what I was feeling and experiencing, even though I've already been having a really great day and been feeling really good about myself. Wow. I encourage you to say those things to yourself. Say them out loud. You don't have to look at yourself, but you can. It's kind of fun to look at yourself and say these things. Just say them out loud to yourself. I am proud of myself for starting. I did something different. That is worth celebrating. I am learning. I don't have to have this all figured out. I just found out about it. What matters is I care. What matters is I'm thinking through it. What matters is I'm being thoughtful and slowing down and being strategic. What matters is I want to break the patterns of how I used to approach the overwhelm that I feel. This is so cool. I'm so excited. What might open up for you if you do that? So when you try something and it doesn't go as planned, you didn't fail. You learned. You tried. You took a risk. Every action ends up giving you information. It just creates data. Every attempt, every try, every lesson learned just makes you stronger and more knowledgeable for the next round. I heard this quote from Taylor Swift, who indirectly heard it from Dolly Parton, but I didn't hear it from Taylor. I saw it in a video interview that she did. She talked about, Dolly Parton has this quote that says something along the lines of like, regret is so unfair to yourself because if you did not have the information that you had then that you do now, and you made a choice based on what you knew then that you didn't know now, and it would have been impossible for you to make the right choice because you didn't have all the information. So regret is just like mean to yourself. It's unfair. I think this is the same thing. You know, every time you make a mistake or you do fail, if we do want to call it a failure, it's not the end of the world. There's no reason to regret that or beat yourself up over it. Like, it's just information. And listen, you can have your feelings about it. Like, if you are disappointed by the outcome of something, feel those feelings. Experience life. Like, I am not subscribing to the toxic positivity train here. That's not what this is about. What it is about is not adding additional judgments or stacking or using this as evidence to not try again. Using this as evidence that we aren't good enough. Evidence that we only fail. That we're just a procrastinator, that we're lazy. We're not subscribing to that because it's just simply not true. So what I want to encourage you to do to accompany this compassion that you're going to give to yourself is to celebrate and reward your progress, because celebration reinforces your progress and it helps us acknowledge that we moved from this point, from point A to point B, from this point to that point. And I talked about celebration in last week's episode as well. And I want to share some ideas of how to celebrate by size. So I'm going to share some ideas on how to celebrate by size. And the 3 sizes I will share with you are small and medium and big. So for small celebrations. So some no cost or low cost celebrations could be treating yourself to a fun coffee or maybe a sticker. Do you like a good sticker? Like a lot of the small shops around here in Chicago have really fun stickers. So I do love to get a sticker every once in a while. You can share your win with a friend or with a colleague or with a neighbor or a family member. You can take a 10-minute walk break. You can put a sticker on a tracker or like update a tracker with like fun markers or pens or shapes, or get a bullet journal or something like that and track your progress with a fun representation of your accomplishment. You can do a happy dance in your kitchen. I love to recommend doing 5-minute dance parties. So just like blasting a song that you love and just like dancing like nobody's watching, because nobody is watching. Just do it privately and just like have fun and dance. You can breathe in really, really deeply into your diaphragm and exhale with a big sigh, like a big deep exhale that you can hear. Letting yourself just really feel that energy flowing outside of you. You can watch a YouTube video. You can watch an episode of your favorite show. You can treat yourself to a movie night in. You can watch a classic. You can pop some popcorn, have a little soda or some snicky snackies. That's something fun you could do. Let's move on to our medium celebrations. So you can buy yourself fresh flowers. Love some flowers. You can... something I love to do is buy myself a balloon. I love balloons. So every once in a while, I will buy a balloon from the grocery store and it'll be maybe for an event or a holiday or something, or just because it's fun. I do just love a balloon. It just makes me feel very happy. So get yourself a little balloon. You can order your favorite takeout. You can block an hour for a hobby, or you can watch like a how-to video on YouTube and try your own how-to. You can watch a movie guilt-free, or have like a movie marathon guilt-free. Like plan a full day for yourself where you have a movie marathon, and there's no guilt attached to it, and you don't have to do anything else except sit there and enjoy your movie. Enjoy it. Enjoy all of your movies and do this guilt-free, and don't tell yourself that you should be doing something different. You can sit on your porch for an evening if you have a porch. If you don't have a porch or an outdoor area, you can walk yourself over to a park. You could bring a lawn chair. You could sit there and you could read. You can even go to a park, have your lawn chair, sit at the park, and look at your phone for an hour. You don't even have to do anything different. You can just go reward yourself with a different scene. Go be somewhere else. Do your doom scroll in there and do it guilt-free. Block out that time. That's your reward. You can get yourself a new journal or a candle or a pen or a set of pens. You can light the candle. When's the time you can light the candle, or use your fancy soap when you don't have guests? Just using it for yourself. How can you make yourself feel like it's a special occasion? Like, what do you do when people come over, or if you're going out or traveling or going to visit people? Like, what are some special occasion things that you do while you're traveling or while people come over? Do you have fancy towels? Do you sit in the living room that you never sit in otherwise? Do those things for yourself. You don't have to have people over to do it. You don't have to travel to go do those things. Go do the things that you would do on a special occasion that isn't for yourself. Normally isn't for yourself, and make it for yourself. Now for the big ones. You can plan a little weekend trip. You could go camping. You could go somewhere across the world. You could go to a national park. You could do a little weekend trip to a town close by that has fun weekend activities. You can decide to splurge on something you've been eyeing. Maybe there's like a new scarf or blanket or something. I'm thinking about cozy season. You could get yourself, I have my eye on a KitchenAid mixer. I'm ready for a new one. So you could get one of those. You could book yourself a spa day. You could go get a facial or a massage, or you could go get your nails done. You could take yourself out to some Topgolf. Do love some Topgolf. You can take yourself out to a movie, like out on a date for a movie. You could take a class that you've been wanting to take, like a cooking class or a pottery class, or you can go to a retreat, like a wellness retreat, or you could take yourself to a conference that you find inspirational that you've been wanting to go to. You could host a celebratory dinner. So some of these things do cost money. And if you're looking for ideas on how to celebrate yourself without spending money, and you want it to be medium or big, and you're just not exactly sure how you can do that, comment on this episode, send me a message on my website at lauracoaches.com, and I'm happy to help you brainstorm some ideas of how to celebrate yourself. I'm happy to help you celebrate yourself, because there's only so much that I can do and come up with without knowing what matters to you and what you want. So these are just some ideas to get you started. And really, the size of the celebration doesn't necessarily matter. It's just truly the act of pausing to acknowledge the progress that you've made and to celebrate that you did something. And that's huge. It's huge. Regardless of how big or small the action is, making progress is huge. Progress is a win. I wholeheartedly believe that, and will celebrate that for myself and for my clients and my friends and my family till the end of time. Now, I do want to make sure we talk about a really important balance. because we do need to make sure that we are balancing our action with wellness. Something that can happen to perfectionists, and this is something I do quite a bit. I do this so often. I am working on figuring out how to calibrate, but we can overcorrect. We go from nothing to everything. Or, oh, I never did this. I'm only doing this. I'm always doing this. Or, I always do this. I'm never going to do this. But real sustainable growth and complexity and getting out of that all or nothing thinking requires rest and self-care and balance. So over-indexing, overcorrecting, that's something I am working on and I'm getting so much better at. I'm really proud of that. I have been making progress, but just want to share that it's a very relatable thing for me. This balance truly matters, especially the balance between rest and self-care and growth and action, because rest increases our ability to create and encourages creativity. And wellness also prevents resentment. Like, we don't need to deserve wellness or self-care. My coach friend, they are so brilliant. They often talk to me about this idea of like deserving self-care or deserving compassion. It's just such a wild idea because we more than deserve it. It's just like an innate like right that we have to be able to take care of ourselves and treat ourselves with compassion. So when we deprioritize wellness and we replace that need for wellness with action and growth only, we can be resentful that we don't have time for ourselves. So we need to make sure that we build that time in for ourselves and we don't over-index on only doing time for ourselves. Do you see where I'm going with this? And joy and rest and cup filling and fulfillment overall really fuels our resilience. Because if we are being fulfilled and having joyful experiences and focusing on wellness and taking care of ourselves, we can enjoy even some of the hardest or most stressful periods of our lives. We know that no matter what, hey self, I've got my back. I'm taking care of myself. I know that I can count on me to make sure that we are not going to completely fall apart in this period. So how you can start small, because you know I love to start small with wellness, is to schedule a couple of 5-minute wellness breaks throughout the day. And during those breaks, stand up, stretch, focus on your breathing, drink an extra glass of water, take a step outside, breathe some fresh air. You can also commit to one activity a week purely for joy, just for joy. And you can borrow from that list of starting small. So if it's reading 2 minutes or reading a page or two of a book, reading for 2 minutes, coloring in a coloring book. Oh, that's one I love to do. Do a puzzle for 5 minutes, watch 5 minutes of a movie, watch a YouTube video of a music video that you love or like a fun throwback video. Do something for joy. One activity a week. And end your day by saying, this is enough for today. I did enough. I am so proud of what I did. I'm proud of what I didn't do. I'm proud of the action I took. And I'm proud of the action I didn't take. Because not taking action and choosing to stop and focusing on taking a little break, that's a win as well. So that's enough for today. So filling your own cup, while it is most importantly for you, it does also make you effective everywhere else. And it will be contagious. And other people will want to fill their cups too. And you will be able to better support people in whatever way you support others. Because everybody supports other people. They in some way. whether it's your job or the people in your life, your family, your friends, you're supporting other people, whether you know it or not. So I want to close out and start to wrap up with a reflection for this week. And this week's reflection is, I want you to think about one thing you've been putting off because it feels too big or overwhelming. And what is the smallest step you can take toward that thing this week? And how will you celebrate yourself once you've done it? So this week's reflection is similar to last week's, and I'm intentionally doing this because I think it's so important. Like, that's how much I believe in this reflection. And I'm building on it a little bit, but start with wherever you're comfortable. And I want you to ask yourself, what is one thing that I've been putting off because it feels too big or overwhelming? What is the smallest step I can take toward it this week? And how will I celebrate myself once I've done that small step? And how can I look to myself with compassion? And how can I celebrate the step that I took and the steps that I didn't take? So to recap, something is always greater than nothing. And small actions do compound into transformation and into creativity and into life-changing perspective shifts. And while you are making progress, you absolutely deserve and should give yourself compassion and celebration along the way, whether or not there's progress. But with progress, we especially need to make sure we are doing that because we're so quick to just keep making progress. And balancing action with wellness is the key to sustainable growth and developing into your strongest, most resilient, most joyful, fulfilled version of you. So this week, choose one small thing, do it imperfectly, celebrate it, and notice how good it feels to move forward without needing perfection first. How good does that feel? Are you excited by just the idea of it? Imagine that after having done it too. So thank you so much for tuning into Perfecting Imperfectionism. If this resonated with you, please rate the episode, rate the podcast, shoot me a message, write a comment, share it with a friend, leave a general review, or even just let me know what your something was this week. This helps more than you know. It helps reach more people. It helps share the power that comes with imperfection. And it also helps me grow as a podcaster, as a business owner, as a human. So please, please share with anyone you think this would resonate with, and let me know what you think by leaving a review or rating. And do subscribe if you like this content. And I release episodes each week on Tuesdays, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And remember, progress always beats perfect. So thanks for tuning in. Bye. Thank you for listening to Perfecting Imperfectionism. Tune in each week for a new episode where we will explore challenges that overt and covert perfectionists face. For more information on how to work with me, or if you want customized one-on-one support, head to lauracoaches.com to book your complimentary consultation with me, where you'll learn more about yourself, your goals, and the steps you need to take to achieve them. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Always consult a qualified professional to address your specific concerns.